Hi, I'm Caitlin, better known probably as the Compatibility Coach, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I am a love and relationship coach who today is going to be talking you through how to have awkward dating conversations. Now, this was, when we're looking at communication and dating, this was never my strong point. I was awful at this. The questions I would hate the most would be things like, why are you still single? Or when your last relationship was, because I'd never had one. What are you looking for? I didn't usually know, or I would pretend to go with the flow. And then the third one, if you were dating somebody, the kind of what is this conversation, and I sort of just hope they'd say, yes, definitely something. So with the work that I do with clients, communication and empowered communication when we're dating is so incredibly important. So today what I want to talk you through is the kind of steps we can take when we are communicating, what the number one thing is that is the most important, that almost doesn't matter what you say as long as you have this thing. And number three, I'm going to give you a really practical exercise where actually you can increase your confidence in this area. So let's get started. So let's talk about the kind of steps or the formula that we can work through to help you have better conversations. Number one really is about owning your story, because a lot of the time when I work with clients, there can be some shame around perhaps never having had a relationship or not being in one for years or feeling like you're bad at relationships. So I would start by doing the work on really getting to know yourself and getting to know your story and being okay with it, being in love with who you are and why you're here. That would absolutely be number one. Number two would be you've got to know what you want. So absolutely no more going with the flow, waiting to see what they say and then matching that. If you are looking for a relationship, if you are looking to go from those early stages of dating and really build a life with somebody, you have to actually know what it is that you're looking for. And whether you don't want a relationship, you also have to be able to communicate that. Number three, you have to be excited for what you're looking for. Okay, now this really is the bit of the work that I do with clients that I love. It is really getting them to own where they are and what they want. It's getting them to, want to say that they're ready to build a life with somebody because it feels like that's what's right for them. That's what we want. We want to bring that excitement to it, and you have to be excited for what you're looking for. Looking for a relationship because you don't want to be alone versus looking for a relationship because you're ready to share your life with somebody are two very different energies, and you've got to be excited about it. Number four, you're going to hate this one, but it's one we're going to talk about. You've got to practice actually saying what it is that you want. You've got to practice having these conversations, even if it's just yourself. With clients, I get them to do it to me over Zoom, because the more comfortable you become expressing yourself in these certain areas, perhaps writing a little script for yourself, even if it's never going to be exactly what you say, you will get familiar and comfortable and used to the words. But I would say the one thing that kind of circles all of this and is the number one thing that is going to be the most important when having these conversations is the energy that you are bringing. There is a huge difference of showing up for these conversations with your hunched over, defensive, feeling really insecure about your story and wanting to control the conversation to get a particular outcome. Okay, when we're doing this, it can, as I did, used to come across as too passive or too aggressive, and it can either make the other person feel like they've been backed into a little bit of a corner, which isn't what we want. So good energy when we're having these conversations looks like, your body language. Are your shoulders back? Are you quite open? Lightness of tone, excitement and smiling and eye contact about what you're looking for, because they can feel intense or they can feel loaded conversations, can't we? So we want to bring that lightness there. I always think a good example, shoulders back. If you're on a chair, you can kind of lean your arm on the back of the chair, so you've got that open one. You can also kind of, I can't really do it on here because I'm on camera, but apparently showing your palms is a real sign of being open. So, kind of doing this movement when you're there could be great. And really it's just about you being happy where you are, you knowing what you want, but you are not trying to control the outcome for them. You know, a great phrase or something, if let's say we take the example of the "what are you looking for" conversation, it can be, I'm really happy where I am, and I'm actually really happy single, but I would love to meet somebody and build a life with them because that feels like it's my next chapter. So I'm definitely dating with the intention to meet somebody really special. Okay? That is you owning it, you being happy with where you are, and you're not saying you want to be in a relationship with them because you don't know them. You're not trying to force them to want the same thing. And it actually shows and demonstrates that you're probably going to walk away if the other person isn't going to match that. But you really know what you're looking for and you really know your worth because they've got to be somebody special and you love your life how it is. So that's a little bonus tip and script that you can use. But let's say, you know, you've kind of got your little formula, you know, you need to know what you're looking for, what you want to say. Let's actually give you a practice exercise to build your confidence around this. Okay, so with any practical exercise, what we want to do is first and foremost build awareness around what your triggers are, what your responses are, and actually what was going on. So we can get to know your kind of patterns in communication and what the sort of any limiting beliefs or thoughts or feelings were that came up when we're having them. So think of a situation where you wanted to say something but didn't, or where you were asked a question and you didn't know how to respond, or you know, wish that you'd been able to say something differently. So if we're thinking about dating conversations, it could be, you know, the "what are you looking for? Do you want kids? Are you dating anyone else at the moment?" You know, all those type of things. Pick an example that was real and that you have a little bit of tension around. Then I would like you to note down what you said. Then I would like you to note down what thoughts were coming up when this conversation was happening, and also what was happening in your body. Was there any tension? Did you hunch forward? Did you look down? You know, what was actually going on inside? Were you anxious? Were there butterflies? Did you have a heaviness? You know, just so we can really get to grips actually with what your immediate responses are and what we're thinking the conversation means. Then I would like you to note down perhaps what the intent behind the conversation was. Did you feel it was getting to know each other more? Did you feel it was, you know, you trying to control the outcome, or perhaps them expecting a different response? Just, you know, have a little think about that. And then finally, I'd like you to write a different response coming from a really empowered and positive place where you're owning your story, you're excited for where you are, you know what you want, and you're excited for what you want. And really think about what you would have liked to say. And then you just got to practice in the mirror. You can feel really silly, you can feel awkward, but practice, practice, practice. And we're not saying this is a script that you've got to try and remember, but it's just to get you used to what is going on and then feeling those words actually come out of your mouth. So that's it from me, but please do rate, subscribe and review. As always, I love to hear from you and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video and any of you who've actually gone to practice.